What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be showing off an insane Gishki with easily 6 to 7 negates depending on what you want to go for. Plus, on top of that, you can have extra protection. So we talked about Gishki in a previous video, and overall the results were kind of underwhelming in a pure Gishki deck. Now, if you mix it in with sprites, you can have extra negations and more consistency with the deck. And it is using the newer ban list, obviously, that we just got with Rip the Toad. But for the most part, yeah, it's going to be very, very powerful. It does not need Substitute though. Nonetheless, the deck has pretty good consistency because obviously Gishkis have a lot of searchability. You have Abyss to search out whatever monster you want. You have Shadow that lets you add any Gishki ritual, and on top of that, there's also the Vision that lets you use it as the entire requirement, but you can just discard it to add a Gishki ritual monster. So this lets you add ritual monster. This one is the ritual spell, and then on top of that, this is any Gishki. So AzneyesWhitedragon was the card that I originally was talking about. I was like, well, why would you want to bounce back your like Gishki ritual, right? That usually would be kind of bad, but now you no longer need to like bounce this back for like one negation, but you also lose your monster. Because like I've seen plays where people would dump out double AzneyesWhitedragon and then like that was their end board, right? You go double AzneyesWhitedragon and it has a quick effect that you can return a Gishki ritual that you control to the hand and then negate the activation of an opponent's effect monster. So I felt like that was very underwhelming because you had to bounce back your powerful monster that's level 10 for the ritual, and it just felt again underwhelming. But with Sprite, obviously you can make Alpha, you can go into Masquerade, like you can go into stuff a lot easier. So we're gonna recycle that, go ahead and add back the AzneyesWhitedragon and then activate this Sprite starter, go into blue, and then go into Jet, special summon, go ahead and activate that effect, search out another free card. So the deck, I mean, if you played Sprite, the deck is relatively consistent, right? Then you have Swap Frog, going to be able to dump another Swap Frog going into Elf, and here's where the replay will be cutting off pretty soon, but it's basically the same concept over here as what I'm about to explain. So how do we get all of these negations? Well, obviously Masquerade, we can go into things over here, right? With Totally Awesome, we have 8 extra negations. So this is one negate here, one negate here. We're going to go into something which will be explained. We're going to have 3 to 4, depending on kind of what you want to go for. Technically, you can go even further if you want to. There also is a imperm, so we have 4, 5, 6, and then 7 over here. But once you're at 6 negates, it doesn't matter. But I also want to mention the bonus protection here, not in Overwatch 2 though, but in the Dueling Book Play here. We're still waiting in queue. Anyways, so here's basically the board that you'll be seeing, right? So to explain like what you would do during your opponent's turn. So it goes, you pass turn, the opponent's standby phase, because remember, you may be locked into only going for certain things at certain points. So you go and go for the Swap Frog, because this one has the ability during the main phase, it has a quick effect. You can target one level 2 a monster in your graveyard, or if your opponent controls a monster, you can target a 1 rank. It doesn't really matter though. It could be better to go for other things, but for the most part, you go for Swap Frog and dump another thing in deck, then whatever. That part doesn't matter too much. And then if your opponent activates a spell / trap card, you can just negate with Totally Awesome, obviously, / monster effect, and then we're just going to go ahead and have Totally Awesome. So that's one negation over there. If you want to, you can go ahead and add that to your board. I'm going to kind of, if no response from the opponent, you get to activate the Sprite Elf over here. Go ahead and bring back the Grim Gishki. Remember, this card is really good. It has that ability, when it's normal or special, you get to special summon a Gishki monster over here, but he's going to go ahead and, I guess, add that as like a token here for like if your opponent activates something. But he's got Grim Gishki, and then again, Grim Gishki, if you happen to lose a monster, because you know, you can Totally Awesome have that Aqua monster from your hand or face up on the field, and it counts itself. So you can send itself if you run out of room, because you may run out of room, right? So in terms of this next play, I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward it. So Grim Gishki effect activates. If no response, you can chain Masquerade, and then you can go into Appaloosa, above the goddess over here. And then you can have, depending on how this is oriented, you can have anywhere from 3 to 4 negates. You can even maybe push further than that, but he's going to go ahead and go for Gishki Abyss over here. And Gishki Abyss lets him add another Gishki, and then Sprite Red over here has that quick effect. Contribute another, where is it? When your opponent activates a monster effect, use a quick effect, you can go even further with this and then have another negate, and then you can also maybe even destroy that monster. So this is where, again, you get extra bonus protection. This is basically when your opponent would actually start playing, because you need kind of an opponent, and there was no opponent in that duel over there. But yeah, you can go for 7 negates. So you can see there's 4, the Toad was 5, and then we have 6, 7. I mean, he opened up improv. We won't even count it. All right. So just, I mean, once you get past 6 negates, doesn't really matter for the most part. If they have Exodia, they have Exodia. And you also still have a full entire board. But we're not done yet, because remember, I said there was bonus protection. So Appaloosa cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. You get 4 negates, Neromanius, and Imperm. Well, again, you don't even have to really count Imperm over here. But on top of that, this card is immune to things because Masquerada, if I mouse over it, it has this bonus effect with extra protection where a linked monster that was used as this material cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. So yeah, basically you are good to go at this point. You actually basically just win the game. So you have basically 6 extra cards in hand, a full board of negations, and at that point, yeah, the deck is actually looking pretty good. And if you guys do want like a brief little deck profile, we can go ahead and snag it real quick, because I love this new feature with YuGiOh Pro. You just export the deck and I can just go right in it to the decks and then just go to 7 and then bam, there we go. So thanks so much, Sam, for the deck profile. I'll mouse over it really quick. But yeah, if Gishkis get any more support, this deck could actually be really good. Salvage is super OP in the deck because again, you just literally discard. They don't have the once per turn, so you just cycle through them and then you go plus with them at the end of the day. Here's the extra deck as well. But yeah, that's how you can go for 6 to 7 negates with Gishkis and basically just Shrek your opponent. But shout out to my homie Sam, thank you. I actually didn't think Gishkis were that great, but when you mix in sprites with them, they are actually looking pretty dang solid. But if you guys enjoyed the gameplay, drop a like on it. If you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh videos in the future with combos and stuff in the future, and this is your first time here, make sure you guys subscribe with the bell notification on so you don't miss out, and I will see you in the next video. And also visit Discord if you guys want to download the deck.